Most dominant and best-loved champions, he drove the iconic Ferrari 500 and defended his title the year after. It was Juan Manuel Fangio in his Ferrari 250 who secured the team's next driver's title in 1956. Remember, he was world champion 5 times with 4 different teams. Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill and John Surtees also won titles for Ferrari in the 50s and 60s, and the cars back then were beautiful, and they even sounded great, didn't they? Anyway, Ferrari went 11 years without winning a title until Niki Lauda won in 1975 in the iconic 312T. Throughout much of the 80s and 90s, though, Ferrari looked like they'd never go all the way again. Le Professeur Alain Prost came pretty close in 1990, but lost out to his bitter rival and former teammate at McLaren, Ayrton Senna. It was only when John Todt recruited a swathe of staff from outside of Italy, including Michael Schumacher, that the glory days returned 21 years after their last driver's title. The turn of the century saw the prancing horse sprint to an unprecedented 5 consecutive championship doubles. And after Schumacher left, Kimi Raikkonen reclaimed the driver's title immediately. But despite employing 1,500 people, the Iceman remains the last Ferrari world champion. So, 16 constructors' titles, 7 more than McLaren, and 15 drivers' titles, 4 more than, again, McLaren. Ferrari are truly Formula One's top team. Forza Ferrari.
A very, very good morning. This is the Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux, insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. It's Sam Ellard building up the talkSPORT breakfast at 6 when it's Jeff Stelling and Danny McCoy with what's coming up, though, over the next hour. A very good morning and welcome back. Here's Sam Stevens.
Yeah, good morning, Sam. Now we'll look back on a huge weekend of football this weekend. We'll talk Rangers as their sticky start under Russell Martin has continued, and now rumours of one player not wanting to come off the bench. What's going on there? We'll look ahead to tonight's dramatic action. El Izakiko. Does that work?
I kind of stole that for Paul Ross. I did give you credit, though, but I like it. I think that's back pages tomorrow morning, isn't it?
Thank you very much indeed. I'm not sure it does, but anyway, Newcastle host Liverpool in an absolute thriller live on talkSPORT tonight. We'll discuss all the rest of the sports news from the weekend as well. Big wins for Arsenal, big win for Spurs. North London happy. Manchester perhaps not so happy. United yet to win. City losing at the weekend as well, of course. And we'll take our usual look inside the back and front pages of the papers as well.
This is the Early Breakfast on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux, insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Happy Monday morning. Happy Bank Holiday Monday morning. It's 5:04. Sam Ellard with you until 6. Sam Stevens, a good weekend?
Yes, thank you very much. A very good weekend. Lots of things going on.
What was your sporting highlight of the weekend?
The sporting highlight of the weekend? Well, Tommy Fleetwood is a big one.
Yeah.
Tommy Fleetwood's a big one, isn't it? What a fantastic achievement from him.
$10 million, Tom's saying there, that he's picking up just for winning that. And that's not a bad weekend's work, is it?
Not at all, not at all. I was really looking forward to watching the 4:30 game yesterday, so I enjoyed it for about 20 minutes and then enjoyed it even more after an hour, and then it all reverted to type, didn't it, for Man United? But I think in terms of football this weekend, I mean, it's a big old win for Spurs, that, isn't it, against Man City? And I think that was quite a good one for the title race as well. I think you don't want all of the big boys to kind of leap ahead at the top of the table and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's always quite good when you get a bit of an early season shocker.
Yeah, I thought Spurs were great as well.
Played very well.
I think in the Thomas Frank shown in his first 3 games as Spurs manager, he's adaptable, right? The PSG game, they went quite long, quite direct. In the game against Burnley, much more possession based, and in that game against City, it was very much sort of trying to press high up the pitch, win the ball back like they did for that second goal. So already, adaptable is a word that gets used a lot for Thomas Frank, and you've seen that. Whereas Ange had that one way of just playing, it was that way or no way. Whereas Thomas Frank, they're adapting. I thought my highlight maybe Everton beating, Everton winning yesterday, and it's been a long time, hasn't it? Wait for this new stadium.
Very much so.
First game, sunshine, clean sheet win. I think Jack Grealish and the assists. A great day for Everton Football Club.
Lovely to see Jack Grealish enjoying himself again, isn't it? He looks very happy in his new surroundings. It's a stadium befitting of his abilities, isn't it? So great to see him get a couple of assists yesterday as well. Yeah, for sure. We'll try and ram everything in the next hour on the early breakfast show. Let's start though with a look at some of the back page headlines today. Back of the Mail, ref upset me. Bruno Fernandes bizarrely criticised referee Chris Kavanagh for disturbing him just before the Man United captain missed a penalty in yesterday's 1-1 draw. The midfielder was angry that Kavanagh did not say sorry, although he refused to blame the incident for him firing over the bar. So Bruno bluffs penalty, and he wasn't happy when the referee accidentally barged into him. That's back of the Mail. 2 other stories on the back of the Mail. Nuno, I won't walk away from Forest. Nuno Espirito Santo yesterday admitted Nottingham Forest's future remains uncertain, but said talks with owner Evangelos Marinakis were imminent, urged the club's board to restore harmony. The manager dismissed the idea he would walk away from the City ground as absurd, but his fate lies in the hands of Marinakis, who did not attend yesterday's 1-1 draw at Crystal Palace. One more story for you on the back of the Mail. Arsenal were given a lift last night when scans indicated Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard may not have sustained long-term injuries in Saturday's 5-0 thrashing of Leeds. Boss Mikel Arteta feared Saka had suffered a significant hamstring injury while Captain Odegaard left the pitch clutching his right shoulder. So looks like there some good news, more good news for Arsenal after a 5-0 win against Leeds. Back of the Eye, opening act proves a showstopper. Grealish stars Everton's new home. 2 assists for Grealish as they beat Brighton 2-0. Back of the Sun, Bruno Fernandes fluffed his lines on the spot as Manchester United's winless start of the season continued, yet to win in the Premier League this season. Back of the Guardian, we have to grow up a lot. Ruben Amorim said his team need to grow up after Emile Smith-Rowe's equaliser for Fulham held Manchester United to a 1-1 draw. New boy Grealish is king of the hill. That's also a headline on the back of the Guardian. What else have we got for you on the back pages? Back at the Times, Grealish, I'm loving the game again. Jack Grealish has admitted he has stopped enjoying his football at Manchester City after his creative spark helped Everton mark their first competitive game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium with a win. Back at the Times have also got the Saka and Odegaard injury boost story and also a picture of a smiling Emma Raducanu. Emirates wait for win in New York. Emma Raducanu won her first match at the US Open since lifting the title 4 years ago. She won in straight sets and is through to round 2 at the US Open. But to the Premier League's weekend action, Spurs had another happy visit to the Etihad. Arsenal put in a 5-star performance against Leeds. West Ham were thrashed by Chelsea and Everton got off to the perfect start in their new stadium. It was another dramatic weekend of Premier League action. Here's how it sounded on talkSPORT.
Nodding down past him and put in by Chalobah. It's 5-1. A night that started with a world-class goal and plenty of positives. It has transformed into a complete hammer horror show. West Ham 1, Chelsea 5.
Oh, given away stupidly by Trafford. Here's Richarlison, Polinia. It is 2-0. What on earth are Manchester City doing? Well, everybody was laughing at Spurs this week. They ain't laughing now. Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2.
Upsets Gyökeres and slams it into the bottom left-hand corner. He has 2 now. It's Arsenal 5, Leeds 0.
First ever league match at the new ground, the Hill Dickinson Stadium on the banks of the River Mersey. Everton 2, Brighton 0, and what a goal from James Garner. And it's a winning start at that brand new home for Everton after 133 years at Goodison Park.
On Sunday, we saw draws between Fulham and Manchester United and Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, while Everton picked up a 2-0 victory in their first game at their brand new stadium over Brighton. Jack Grealish started for the first time for Everton. Grealish with 2 assists. That's as many as he managed in his last 2 seasons at Manchester City. Everton boss David Moyes was delighted to pick up 3 points in their new surroundings.
We've been waiting so long for this now, and everybody's been desperate to get here. We've been watching the stadium getting built stage by stage, and I have to say, and I've said earlier, it's great credit to the people who started it off, the people who put the money in, the people who done the design and all the work. And maybe a lot of those people are not here today, and I wish they could have been. But the one thing I will say, I want to remember them. It was great to walk out the stadium to the noise today, the crowd. And what was even better was the end of the game.
talkSPORT pundit and former Everton set-piece coach Charlie Adam was full of praise for Jack Grealish's performance after he created both goals.
Grealish, I just think he's a wonderful footballer, and he's a cut above the rest in the quality he has within the squad. He's a top player. The way he moves the ball, but his weight of pass, and again, when he's got an opportunity to shoot, he lays and he just brings other people in. He's played at a high level, and he can drag this club and this team to another level from where it was at the back end of last season.
Elsewhere yesterday, captain Bruno Fernandes skied a penalty over the bar at 0-0 in Manchester United's 1-1 draw with Fulham, despite United taking the lead in the second half through an own goal with Emile Smith-Rowe's first touch as a sub rescued a point for Marco Silva's men, as Man United once again were pretty poor for the majority of the game. So Fulham and Man United drawing, Everton beating Brighton, while Nottingham Forest boss Nuno Espirito Santo's future may be up in the air, but his side still secured a credible draw against Crystal Palace in what many people are calling El Clasico. Callum Hudson-Odoi equalised in the second half after Sard giving the hosts the lead, despite claiming his relationship with owner Evangelos Marinakis had broken down in his pre-match press conference. After the game, Nuno said he's hoping to smooth things over.
The truth is that we have to speak. We have to speak, and we will do it this week. This is the truth. And try to create a better platform moving forward.
Nuno, can I just ask, are there plans then to speak to the owner later this week?
Yes, of course. It's needed. It's needed.
And do you still feel confident then that that's a relationship that can still be a very healthy one working-wise?
I hope so. I think we are grown-up people that want the best for the club. This is what is important.
Yeah, you really hope whenever those 3 men, Edu, Marinakis and Nuno, get into the same room at some point this week, you really hope common sense prevails and they can sort out whatever difference is, Edu and Nuno have had over the last couple of weeks, because Nuno Espirito Santo has done nothing short of a magnificent job at that football club in a short space of time. And really everyone at Forest should be on an absolute high this season, going into a European campaign. Of course, the first time in many, many years they've been back in Europe. So let's hope they can sort it out, because it would be a real shame, wouldn't it, given the great work he's done there, the great relationship he's got with his players, the fans, if Nuno can't take the team forward and can't take the team into a European campaign. So Palace 1, Forest 1 yesterday, Everton 2, Brighton 0 yesterday, and Fulham 1, Manchester United 1. While on Saturday, Spurs beat Man City 2-0 at the Etihad. It's 2 wins from 2 in the Premier League under Thomas Frank, and another impressive victory against Pep Guardiola's men. Goals from Brennan Johnson and João Palhinha did the job, much to the delight of Spurs fan and talkSPORT's Jamie O'Hara.
Everyone's been laughing at us all week, all right? And everyone was digging us out. You coming here with your little clown props and all that, giving it the big and everyone mugging us off. Spurs are rubbish. Spurs are back. The old usual Spurs. And I thought, you know what? Let's see what happens. We go and play Man City today, and let's see how we do. And I tell you what, Thomas Frank, what a gaffer. What a manager.
Well done.
And he's gone up, and we've just shut every single person up with that performance. Man City, everyone's saying they're back. Man City's back, built a new team.
You never learn, mate.
We were superb.
You never
Spurs
learn,
were absolutely brilliant.
Jay, you never learn, okay? Why can't you just be humble?
I don't need to be. I'm being humble.
Why can't you just go there and say, yeah, well, good before? Because it's 2 games in, and you're Spurs. You know that result, that trip, that performance, you go flat in your face, is just round the corner.
It's a massive result, though.
It's a great result. It's a
massive result. Just shuts everyone up. Everyone digging us out.
No, it won't shut anyone up, mate. It won't shut anyone up.
Getting, mugged off by Eze and all that, and we just rock up. Brennan Johnson, bang, goal. Yeah. That's what we do. It's what we do. It didn't even look like scoring.
You know, it's not what you do. That's the whole point. It's not what you do. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it wasn't what they did too much last season, wasn't it? When they finished 17th, but they do look really impressive, Spurs, in the early start to this season. It's also been a superb start across North London after grinding out an important 1-0 win at Old Trafford last week. Arsenal showed a different side to their game, thrashing newly promoted Leeds 5-0 at the Emirates. One new signing, Eberechi Eze, was paraded to the home fans before the game, while another, Victor Gyökeres, bagged 2 goals for the Gunners on his home Premier League debut. Mikel Arteta says he hopes these goals will help his strikers settle in.
That's exactly what you need, get it off the mark and get that confidence, and for the players, for the opponent, it's for everybody. Really happy. I think he really enjoyed it. He managed to play the full game as well, so that's another step as well physically for him, so very glad.
So far, a lot of talking points from another busy weekend of Premier League football. Just 2 sides with a 100% win record in the Premier League, and both those sides are Arsenal and Spurs. But the Premier League weekend is far from done. It should be, for obvious reasons, a tasty encounter this evening at St James's Park. The Premier League weekend finishing with Newcastle versus Liverpool. Liverpool can get to 6 points from 6 with a victory away at Newcastle this evening. It is an 8 o'clock kickoff. It is live on talkSPORT. All the build-up from 7. It is 5:15 on Monday, August the 25th. The Early Sports Breakfast with you this morning until 6 o'clock. Then talkSPORT Breakfast takes over with Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoy. Coming up next on the Early Breakfast Show, we'll take a deep dive into what's making today's Bat Pages. A very good morning. This is the Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux. Get a tailor-made quote for your commercial vehicle. Search Adrian Flux Insurance for the individual. Jeff and Ali on the way from 6 with talkSPORT Breakfast. Make sure you download the talkSPORT app to find all of our stations, including talkSPORT, talkSPORT 2, Talk Times and Virgin. And there you can listen again to our shows and best interviews too. Elsewhere in the Premier League weekend just gone, Burnley got their first victory back in the top flight. 2-0 win at home to Sunderland, while Bournemouth edged past 10-man Wolves 1-0 Aston Villa's wait for a win goes on after they lost to Brentford 1-0. Wigan moved back up to second in the Super League with a comfortable 44-2 victory at home to Wakefield. The Warriors ran in 8 tries, and only 2 100% records remain in the Championship after the first 3 rounds. Stoke's perfect start continued, even though they played more than half an hour with 10 men in a 2-1 victory over Southampton. Middlesbrough also have 3 wins from as many matches, beating Norwich 2-1. Elsewhere, Ryan Mason's West Brom were held 1-0 by Portsmouth to the Hawthorns. Sheffield United lost for the 3rd game in a row. Sheffield Wednesday picked up their first point of the season. In Coventry, well, they gave their goal difference a huge boost. They'd hammered QPR 7-1. Here's Frank Lampard.
I think people really understand, and now, it's just an amazing feeling to bring the club together to make this officially our home. Felt like home to me anyway, but what that means today is a huge deal, and you could feel the fans' appreciation for that today. And then we topped it off with a really good performance.
For more on all of the day's biggest sporting and football stories, visit talksport.com, and loads more on the weekend's EFL action after 6 on TalkSport Breakfast. Stay tuned for Jeff's view later on at 5:21. Time now to take a look at the back pages with Adrian Flux.
The back page review on TalkSport with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk.
And to do just that, Sam Stevens is back in the studio.
Yeah, Man United are not really a talking point this weekend, but they've still made the back page of all the newspapers. It just tells you how much they sell papers, doesn't it, really? That's what people always say. I think it was...
Hated, adored, never ignored, United fans often say to me.
I think it was Martin Samuel who said that if you put Man United on the back pages, then you won't go poor, or whatever the expression was, in terms of the fact that United obviously generate a lot of coverage. And a lot of it is about Bruno Fernandes fluffing his lines from the penalty spot. An absolutely dire penalty yesterday against Fulham at Craven Cottage. When the game was at 0-0, delicately poised, he smashed it over the bar. And he's had a bit of a moan up about referee Chris Kavanagh bumping into him before the take. He hasn't used it quite as an excuse, but, I mean, it's not really the behaviour befitting of a captain to be moaning about a referee bumping into you before a penalty is taken. Who cares?
It's pathetic.
It's just a mistake from the referee. Like, who cares? You know?
I almost feel a bit embarrassed for him that he's felt the need to even mention
absolutely
an accidental coming together as a reason as to how that would even sort of come into his thinking when giving an interview after the game when asked about a penalty. I just can't believe that even because he then went on to say he doesn't blame the referee for it. But then why is he even mentioned in the first place?
Yeah, very true.
Because I appreciate that the players have got their routines and stuff, but I couldn't really believe what I was listening to. I almost like, what are you talking about? Why are you mentioning this? Why is this even a thing? It was just remarkable.
Yeah, I remain on the game a bit more broadly. I remain struggling to be convinced by Ruben Amorim. I have to say, Sam, and don't get me wrong. I understand that transitions take time and there's a lot of cultural change that's been required, and all of the things that he's doing off the field are good. The signings he's made, I think, have been fairly promising as well. And and Burma had a very quiet game yesterday. Cunha looked really good for the first half an hour, drifted in and out of the game. But there's still a massive disconnect between the players and the formation that he's trying to shoehorn in. He seems much more obsessed with formations than he does personnel, which I think is always a mistake for a manager personally. I think you fit your players around, you fit your formation, or at least when you're adapting on the fly, you fit your formation around your players, not the other way around. And I'm really not convinced by his subs either. And I think that when you're up against it like yesterday, I mean, Fulham completely transformed the game with their subs, and United completely regressed, I felt, as well. So lots of things to be to ponder from Ruben Amorim's point of view. That's for sure.
Yeah, Ruben Amorim has managed Man United in 28 matches against current Premier League teams. 28. He has overseen 4 wins. It's a win percentage rate of under 14.5%, and 2 of those wins came in his first month in charge. Lenny Euro has been at Man United for 13 months and still hasn't started a win against a current Premier League side, which is crazy. And I had real sympathy for Ruben Amorim in terms of what he came into, what he inherited, a messy Man United team, lacking quality, a real unbalanced team. So I almost felt like you had to give him time to come in, implement a style. But we're 6 to 8 months now into it, and I'm just not entirely sure what Man United are trying to do. There's no improvement. I think you're bang on, by the way, about our substitutes. They've never really seemed to impact the game in a positive way. I think the formation is a really interesting point. I've never seen a manager who's been so wedded and so adamant about a system working. But this system just doesn't seem to be working in any way, shape or form. Every single time I watch Man United play, doesn't matter who the two central midfielders are. Man United always seem to be outrun and outnumbered in the middle of the park. It always seems like it's 3 against 2, because 9 times out of 10 teams play a 4-3-3, so the 3 midfield players outrun the Man United midfield too. And we're 6 to 8 months into it, and you're watching this Man United team labour through game in, game out, and you just don't see any improvement. And it's, I'm not saying sack the manager. I don't think he will get sacked, because I do think he's a good coach. He showed in his time in Portugal as a talented coach, but he's got to change things quickly. And then you look at someone like Kobbie Mainoo, who is clearly a talented player, and you watch Man United in the first 2 games of Premier League season be really, really poor, with Kobbie Mainoo sat on the bench, and you think, is Kobbie Mainoo really not good enough to get into Man United team? I'm not so sure.
I'm telling you now, Sam, if he doesn't do something to fix that midfield, he's in trouble. And I don't necessarily mean he's in trouble immediately, but there's no question that it can't work in the way that it is, in just that 2 Bruno Fernandes floating around. I think Ellard makes a point, by the way, about Fernandes in this system,
being
particularly
better playing further forward.
Yeah, and I also think that I'm not sure he has really even a role in this particular system. I'm not saying that Bruno Fernandes, we know, has been United's best player for a number of years. Of course we know that. That goes without saying. But also, he looks like a square peg in a round hole in this system. And we know, as you've just said there, Amorim is wedded to it. So a lot for him to resolve. But if Kobbie Mainoo can't find a place in this team, there's a real problem.
I agree. I don't think Bruno should be one of the two. If Bruno is going to play in this United team, I think it has to be as one of the 2 10s. Yeah. But then you sign Cunha and Mbeumo to do that.
And he also likes Mason Mount as well. So there's 4 players for one position.
If there was a positive to take yesterday, I did think in the first half an hour, the front 3 actually did link up pretty well.
Yeah.
And, if you were a bit more clinical in front of goal, Man United could have been a couple of goals up at half time. But I like the game, the Times pull out, Sam, in the Times. They've got a "Look Who's Back" headline, and they've got a picture which is supposed to tell us it's Jack Grealish.
The man with the finest calves in football.
The image they've used isn't the picture of Jack Grealish's face. It's a picture of his calves. But I guess with Jack Grealish, that is pretty much, we all know that's Jack Grealish, don't we, when somebody's calves have made the back page of a newspaper.
Yeah, that's right. And it's lovely to see Jack Grealish smiling again. He looks, as we said earlier, looks completely at home in his new surroundings. Pictures of him all over the back pages. Opening act proves a showstopper. Grealish stars at Everton's new home. Everton manager David Moyes was pleased his decision to give Jack Grealish licence to attack paid off after the on-loan Man City winger provided the assist for both goals in the 2-0 win over Brighton. Grealish spoke very fondly after the game, didn't he, about he had a great time at Man City, but felt it was time for a change. Very diplomatic, not blaming Pep 1 minute, and you sort of think to yourself, felt it was time for a change, or basically forced out the door because you weren't going to get a minute of game time this
Probably
season?
the latter, really, right?
I mean, realistically,
I think when he was left out of the Club World Cup squad, he had no choice, right?
That's the point, isn't it? But, I mean, he deserves to be a star in the team, doesn't he? And I think he's absolutely found the right fit with Everton.
I think Everton's a really good fit. I think Jack Grealish needed to go somewhere where he was going to be loved, where he was going to be the main man, where he was going to play week in, week out. And just the first assist, how good is it seeing Jack Grealish in space, the ball at his feet, being direct, taking
Nothing
on his...
better, is there? No better sight.
Exactly, not wanting to go back and play an extra pass. But he's at a stage in his career now where he needs to play football. He needs freedom to go out there, be aggressive, be direct. And I think this is a really, really good fit for him. I think he's going to love it, Everton. The Everton fans are going to love Jack Grealish. And that literally yesterday couldn't have been a better start.
Yeah, no, 100%. And of course, the other story dominating the back pages is about Nuno Espirito Santo, whose future is still up in the air, despite the fact that he seems to be, as we heard...
What have you made of it?
It's a strange situation, isn't it? It really is. I mean, it's very difficult to suggest that he's done anything other than an absolutely sensational job at Nottingham Forest, taking them into Europe. He's made them difficult to beat, but better than that, their recruitment's been good, despite the fact that he says he hasn't got much say over it, or we believe there's a fallout between him and Edu, the sporting director, who's obviously relatively recently in the role. I think Forest is one of those where, and again, Marinakis knows what he's doing. He's a very experienced owner who's entitled to make the decisions he thinks is best for the football club.
Do you think he'll get sorted?
But I do think that you be careful what you wish for of your Nottingham Forest in this case. I think I would like to think that Nuno's got enough credit in the bank where they would think twice about getting rid of him at this stage. What do you think?
I 100 make it perfectly clear. I said at the top of the show, I 100% want this to get sorted, but I just think when a manager is sat in a press conference and is ultimately, calling out the owner, and then it comes out that there's, what we're led to believe is a relationship that can't be fixed between he and the sporting director.
Only one outcome.
I just think, how often does a manager call out an owner in a press conference?
Yeah, true.
I can't think of too many cases. So when that happens, you have to almost see the writings on the wall. But I really hope 3 gentlemen, 3 grown-ups can get together this morning or tomorrow morning and sit down and just sort it out.
Yes.
Because it would be, what a shame it would be if Nuno doesn't carry on and have a season in Europe with Nottingham Forest, because, as you said, he's done such a good job there. And it's not fair on the fans, the players. It'd just be a shame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And what you'd hate to see if you're from Forest's point of view is that any of this momentum that they're currently on is curtailed because of a situation that's not even anything to do with footballing results.
Yeah, exactly that. Sam, thank you very much. That was a look at this morning's Back Pages with Adrian Flux at 5:30. Coming up next on the Early Breakfast Show, we're talking Rangers.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk.
Every spring, sports fans in Europe come together to celebrate arguably rugby's biggest annual tournament, the Six Nations. But why is it the home nations, plus France and Italy, and no one else? It all started back in 1871 when Scotland beat England in the very first international rugby match. A few years later, when they could field a team, Wales decided they'd host England and an idea was thought up. With Ireland keen, they formed the Home International Championship, which ran from 1883. In 1910, France was allowed to join, as they were developing into a serious rugby nation, and thus the Five Nations was born. France had an interesting history with the championship. They were actually booted out for paying their players in 1931, when the home nations were keen to keep it amateur. After World War II, though, France were let back in, but it remained a closed shop for more than 50 years. And when another country was let in, it was only really because the Five Nations' hand had been forced. Italy was developing into a serious contender, beating Scotland, France and Ireland twice in the same year, meaning in 1999 officials got together and said yes to Italy, and it became the Six Nations. So what changes, if any, come next? 7 nations? 8? A promotion and relegation system? Or should we leave it alone and let it remain the great rugby tradition it's become?
A very good morning. This is the Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux, the cover you need at a price you'll love with Watt Vans Insurer of the year 2021. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Don't forget you can watch this show and all talkSPORT shows on your smart TV. I'm Sam Ellard, taking you through until 6 when Jeff and Ali take over with talkSPORT Breakfast. Some sporting headlines you're waking up to this morning. England's Tommy Fleetwood has won his first PGA Tour golf title with victory at the Tour Championship. He was an 18 under par to finish 3 shots ahead of American Russell Henley in Atlanta. Fleetwood ends his record of 29 top 5 finishes without a victory. Well done, Tommy Fleetwood. And well done, Emma Raducanu. She's eased into the second round of the US Open tennis with a straight sets victory over Ena Shibahara, the 2021 champion, and the Japanese qualifier on court for just over an hour in New York. And new Rangers boss Russell Martin says that any players that are committed to the club following their 1-1 draw at St Mirren. Substitute striker Hamza Igaman, who's been linked with a move, claims he was injured and refused to come on in the second half. Rangers without a win in their opening 3 league games of the season. It's their worst start in 36 years. Former Premier League manager Alan Pardew was critical of Martin for his comments, but did acknowledge the challenge of managing an unhappy player.
I'm not the only Premier League manager or manager of any level who's had that professionally happen to them. Sometimes, 90% of the time, the fans and the media base won't know about it because you don't need to make it public a little bit. You just have to keep it in-house. And I would suggest Russell maybe should have done that. I understand why he's done it. This all comes back to what we were talking about earlier, when the window is still open in this first month of the season. It's chaos for football managers. And I don't think actually that even owners actually understand. They know, they sense it, they sympathise for you as the manager, but they don't really get it, how bad it is in the dressing room. You know, how much uncertainty it causes, how much friction it causes. Some players are really angry. You know, Lee Isaac won at Liverpool tomorrow, right? Some of those players in that change room are going to be angry with him, and some are going to be with him about, well, you know, it's a £100 million move. He wants to better himself. That might be me. Mm-hmm. So all this is, you know, bubbling under the surface at the minute at all the football clubs.
Divisive in the changing room.
It's not fair. And actually, you know, it's part and parcel. And, you know, particularly at the higher level you go, you get a little bit more of this. And agents who are powerful, influencing their players to play up. We still got Wissa not playing at Brentford. We still got Isaac not playing at Newcastle. This is another situation at Rangers.
So 3 draws from 3 games for Rangers in the league. And also don't forget they lost to Club Brugge 3-1 in the Champions League first leg playoff qualifier in the week. This Rangers fan, Andrew, he says he's had enough of the new boss already.
I can't actually tell you how frustrated I am tonight. I know Igamani's behaviour is unacceptable, but if he needs to go, then so does Russell Martin. I think he should pack his bags and go tonight, in all honesty.
3 games in, and that's how you feel. Andrew, I know, listen, I've got a couple of friends who are Rangers, and they weren't having the appointment from the off, which is going to be difficult anyway, coming in. Of course, the start hasn't helped. What is it about Russell Martin as a Rangers fan that you're not enjoying, of course, apart from the results?
Well, I honestly think his depth in terms of he just doesn't actually understand the club. After the game tonight, or the game today, he came out and said that the result isn't the end of the world, which I'm sorry, see to some Rangers fans, that is the end of the world. Mm-hmm. If we get beat next week by Celtic, we'll be 10 points behind, and we're not even in September.
Yeah,
so we're potentially looking at writing off another season, and we could play Hibs in the Cup. Right now, we don't look capable of beating anyone, so that could be our domestic season pretty much over. We're in the Europa League because we're not going to beat Bruges on Wednesday. And the goals we shipped today was just absolutely embarrassing. I mean, the 2 centre-backs for St Mirren's goal was a joke. They can't do the basic defending. And Russell Martin promises attacking football, energetic. We've got Rothwell in the middle of the park who looks knackered. He looks overweight. Suter looks overweight. I mean, I don't mean to be harsh on them, but he's not really backing up his promises. We look in utter shambles at the moment. It's chronic to watch.
Well, that Rangers fan not happy. Fascinated for the thoughts of Rangers legend Ali McCoy from 6 o'clock on talkSPORT Breakfast. Rangers drawing yesterday against St Mirren. Russell Martin under pressure. Back to the Premier League action. It was a tough weekend for West Ham fans following their mauling against Chelsea on Friday night.
Anyway, job done. Well played, Chelsea. Great reaction from going a goal down. Lots of good performances. They'll be really pleased.
The boos ring round the London Stadium. They would have been much louder still had 35,000 West Ham United supporters not already been on the tube home. This, a torrid night. They've been playing Chelsea in cross-capital clashes for 102 years. Never have they been beaten on their own patch by the Blues as heavily as this. They went 1-0 up with a world-class goal. Even when Chelsea went 2-1 up, Hammers still deserved to be ahead. But it unravelled very quickly, and the danger is that West Ham's season might just go the same way. Tonight, they have been battered and bluesed in the London derby. West Ham 1, Chelsea 5. Where do the Hammers go from here?
So is the pressure on Graham Potter already? It certainly feels that way. 2 games, 2 defeats, 8 conceded, only 1 scored. Questions have been asked over their recruitment and whether also Potter is the man to transform their fortunes. Former Hammer striker, West Ham legend Carlton Cole says something has to change soon.
Something has to resonate with these boys where they have to understand the gravity of playing for a Premier League side like West Ham. A few changes were made at half-time. But I just don't think it didn't make a difference. Chelsea was still ploughing on, and it didn't look like they were at the races at all today, apart from massive goal from Paqueta. And I thought, wow, there might be something here. The boys are going to be firing, and then it just flitted out, and I couldn't understand it. I just can't get my head around what's actually happening.
So before the international break, West Ham go to Wolves in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday night. Then on Sunday, they go to Nottingham Forest. Graham Potter needs some points on the board. Time now, though, for the front pages.
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move!
The front pages first on the early sports breakfast.
talkSPORT.
And Sam Stevens is back in the studio. Morning, Sam.
Yes, now, nice guys live longer, say scientists. The eggheads found having a cheerful outlook can help folk rack up more years. In contrast, the study of 22,000 people revealed those who experienced some form of sadness, anger, fear or worry on a regular basis had a 10% higher mortality risk. Now, do you see yourself as having a cheerful disposition, Sam?
Can I ask you, why don't you answer that question?
I would say you're one of the most cheery people I've ever met.
Well, there we go.
I would say you're a happy-go-lucky soul. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen you really in a bad mood. I'd say you're very happy.
I try and take the glass half full approach to life, Sam. I always try and, wake up and be positive. And I like to hear that story because, therefore, if it's true, that means that I might be living slightly longer. I have to say, by the way, am I allowed to mention what you said to me when you came in this morning? Because you're naturally, I would say, quite a laid-back and cheery person.
Yeah, I would say
we
so.
were reunited together this morning, but Sam Stevens this morning came into work not the happiest of people, right? You weren't in the most cheerful disposition this morning, were you?
I was a bit miffed. this morning. Yeah.
Your journey take a bit longer than you expected.
A little longer, yeah. 10 to 15 minutes longer. When you need every minute in the morning for a show like this.
But I've been in that position as well, where you're sitting there thinking, where on earth are we going? And then you start checking Google Maps, thinking, is this guy on the wind-up here? Is he being paid by the minute here?
Glance at the clock and think, how are we still so far away? What is going on?
The bit that worries me is when you don't know where you are. Because
that's true.
9 times out of 10, the cab driver will take the same journey in, the same route in. And then occasionally you wonder, like at 4:30 where you are, and you think, goodness me, I'm not going to make it in on time.
I know, that's it. But anyway, we went late.
You're here now.
Point. Brits spend more than 4 years of their lives nursing a hangover. Now that's quite a sobering.
Very good.
Quite a sobering thought. As many of us enjoy a few tipples over the bank holiday weekend, a study has revealed that we feel the worse for wear after drinking too much alcohol for an average of 26 days per year. 26 days per year. That adds up to 4 years, 2 months, and 16 days during a typical Britain's average 64 years of alcohol. Can you remember your worst ever hangover?
I can remember some tough mornings when I was much younger, in my early 20s, waking up when I used to live at home with a stinking hangover and having to come down to the kitchen. Your parents wanted to make conversation with you and ask you about your night and ask you all sorts of questions. You had the worst ever hangover.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sound like the most boring person on the planet this Monday morning, but I don't get too many hangovers these days. I've almost sort of tried to... I'm nearly 30 and I feel like I can't do hangovers anymore.
I think that may well reflect your sunny disposition, Sam, perhaps. I think.
Oh, okay, because I'm not... Is that why I'm so happy? Because I'm not waking up with a banging... I tell you what, though, coming into work this morning, though, the streets were still busy at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
There were still some bars and clubs that had people outside, and I was like, I can't remember the last time I was stood outside a nightclub or a bar at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
You sound like an old man now, don't I?
That is very true. Now, do you want to have a little bit of fun on this Monday morning?
Always, Sam.
Monday morning?
Always want to have fun
All
with
right,
you.
well, let's put this one out there to the people then, 81089. Or
here
you
we
can
go.
send us a voice note, 03717 223344. That's 03717 223344. I should enunciate, shouldn't I, on a Monday morning? England defender Mark Gahey has been harbouring an ambition to become a WWE wrestling star. Now, you may have seen this. The 25-year-old Crystal Palace player said he grew up watching the professional grapplers. Gahey reckons he would make an excellent ring star, just like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, as he enjoys a bit of trash talk and loves the idea of trying to get followers. Now, I thought we might ask the people who else would make a good wrestling star from the Premier League world.
That's a great question. Yeah, so being a WWE superstar, obviously we know it's sports entertainment. So mainly it's really all about the charisma, being able to talk, being able to cut promos. I'm trying to think of footballers. I mean, maybe like I can imagine Jack Grealish walking out in Madison Square Garden in New York and almost cutting a promo on his opponent, trying to trash talk.
I think Grealish should be good.
Mark Gurkey doesn't strike me as someone that maybe has that kind of, I don't know, the aura, don't want to be the aura, the personality, maybe to kind of cut a promo in a wrestling ring. I'm not too sure.
True. I think that Bruno Fernandes would make a good heel, make a good bad guy, wouldn't he? I think he'd be quite... I think you'd love to hate him or hate to hate him, by the way.
Yeah, who'd make the best heel? Bruno Fernandes would definitely be...
I think Fernandes would. Those players that have got a little bit of, I'm not going to use housery, I think would make excellent wrestling villains. And of course the managers. Throw the managers into the reckoning as well if you wish. 81089. Who would make a good wrestler, a WWE wrestler?
Yeah, there we go. I like that. Yeah, Jack Grealish comes to mind immediately, and yeah, Bruno Fernandes is a great shout for being a good WWE heel. Because he's housery at its absolute.
I can only imagine Gahey being one of the good guys.
I think they call them babyfaces.
Babyface, yes.
Babyfaces. Okay, there we go. Hey, Mark Gahey, you never know, right? You don't get that move to Liverpool this summer or next summer. We could see him cutting promos in WWE.
Yes.
We could see him main eventing WrestleMania sooner rather than later.
There you go.
There we go. 1899 on the text. It is talkSPORT Early Breakfast coming up next. We'll look ahead to the big game this evening. It's Monday Night Football. It's Newcastle versus Liverpool. A very good morning. This is the Early Breakfast on talkSPORT. Sam and I with you until 6. Then Jeff Sterling, Nanny McCoyster on the way for talkSPORT Breakfast to 6 o'clock. But now, though, it's competition time. Time is running out to enter our VIP competition as the NFL returns to Wembley in October. The Los Angeles Rams take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we're giving you the chance to win 6 seats in a private box with full hospitality plus $5,000 spending money. But it all ends today, so be quick. Here's how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by 25th August at 11 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
Good luck, everybody. Sam Stevens, before the break, told us a story about Mark Gahey wanting to become a WWE superstar. Dan the Villa fans texting saying Jamie Vardy would make a great wrestler. Lewis from Lee says Zlatan. Paul says Joe Linton, surely the WWE champion in the making. Calvin Bassey, also a contender, especially after his audition yesterday. Yeah, felt like the Royal Rumble yesterday, didn't it? Inside the Craven Cottage boxes from corners. Paul from Las Vegas, happy day, says Bruno Fernandes also would make a good wrestler. Yeah, you can imagine Bruno Fernandes making a pretty good heel, couldn't you? Now back to the football, and tonight we've got an absolute cracker for you in the Premier League. Newcastle host Liverpool with the spectre of a certain Swede looming over the game like a stormy sky.
A spine-tingling occasion with a fixture that evokes memories.
Collymore closing in!
One from Enrique, taken by Suarez. Oh, what about that?
There's something happening at this football club, something happening at St James's Park.
But the picture changes and unfolds, twists and turns.
When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship cannot continue.
Let's be honest, lads, they have missed Isak, haven't they? Like you wouldn't believe.
I'd rather focus on those players we have here. I'm sure everything off the pitch will take care of itself.
Now Gakpo into the penalty area, takes aim! What a finish!
Also a team that can make it a fight, if you want to call it like this. They have players for this, but they also have players that are so comfortable on the ball.
Fans goes round him, fires it in! 3-0 Newcastle!
First home game, I think, is always going to be electric, under lights, evening game. Concentrate on what we need to do and not get too emotional, but certainly use the energy from the crowd. That's going to be vital for us.
St James's Park explodes with emotion!
So it's Newcastle, it's Liverpool, a big game in the Premier League, live on talkSPORT, 8 o'clock kickoff. But of course, as you'd imagine, so much of the talk, pretty much all the talk, is about Alexander Isak, who we know wants Liverpool while Newcastle want him to stay. It's the saga that's been dragging on all summer, and with the star striker's future still unclear, Newcastle boss Eddie Howe is sad that the Isak situation is building up, is dominating the build-up to this big game this evening.
Of course, these situations are far from ideal, as in talking press-wise, and a lot of the attention has gone on to that rather than the team and our preparation. But in terms of, as soon as I leave here, I'm back with the team. I'm back preparing, training, taking training, delivering meetings, speaking to individual players, trying to get the group in the best frame of mind possible. So the job never changes. just the outside perception is, of course, one that's totally different to normal.
Meanwhile, the Liverpool boss Arne Slot is also expecting a spicy occasion, but not just because of the Isak saga.
I don't think they're a club of troubles. They had a very good start of the season against Villa. Good game for them. I think they were able to get more out of the game than the 1 point they got. So it's not only difficult, or it's mainly difficult because of the players they are having there, not only because of the fans. But the atmosphere is great, like it is at Anfield. So we are used to a certain environment. But St James's Park is, if I just remember last season, where it was in an evening game, by the way, as well, the atmosphere was amazing. And it will be the same. But why is the atmosphere amazing? Because the players can perform. They can add to the atmosphere by being as intense as they were, bringing the quality as they brought in that game. So that's going to be the challenge. The challenge is of course also playing in a stadium where the fans will be there for the home team. And that always helps every home team. I can tell you about us. So the last 15 to 20 minutes at Anfield, it wasn't a coincidence that we scored twice, because the fans helped us.
It's Newcastle versus Liverpool, 8 o'clock kickoff. A talkSPORT exclusive. Adrian Durham is your host. Commentary from Sam Matterface and the former Watford captain Troy Deeney. Here's what's coming up this morning on talkSPORT Breakfast. It is Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist on Breakfast. Sure, Ali's got plenty to say on another bad weekend for Rangers. They're joined by a host of special guests, including former West Ham defender Tony Gale, bad weekend for West Ham. Former Watford captain Troy Deeney will join the boys as well. And Liverpool legend John Barnes will look ahead to tonight's big game, the talkSPORT commentary of Newcastle versus Liverpool. You've been listening to the Early Breakfast Show with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Coming up next on this Bank Holiday Monday morning, it is talkSPORT Breakfast with Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist.